Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, which is titled Eliciting Emotion and Building Empathy in Film. My name is Matt Pothecary, and I'm a creative exec producer here at Mediazoo. For those that are new to Mediazoo, we are a learning and communications agency. My role sits within the creative studio, working across all things moving image, from the creative ideation stage all the way through to delivery on films, animations, and campaigns. Now, the first thing that you will have spotted on this slide is, yes, the hairline gods have not been favourable, but what I lack in hair follicles, I make up for in experience, and I'm incredibly lucky to have worked for 20 years in a multitude of genres, from television, branded, social, and commercial content. But I recognise that emotion and empathy have been a constant red thread in my work, and something that we use to great effect here at Mediazoo to drive engagement and to build deeper connections with audiences. Now, I think today's webinar topic is something that we all have a level of understanding around as humans. There may be some of you that understand emotion and empathy in film already, and there may be some of you that are looking to use emotive film but aren't sure where to start. I want to use this presentation to talk about some of my personal experiences and observations, and maybe to give some practical tips on how to make steps towards making content that moves people yourselves. So, a little overview of today's session. My journey, the experiences to give you the context of my attitudes to this subject. Emotion and empathy in action. Hopefully we'll experience what those things mean together. Why? Why, Matt? Why would you seek to move people, and what happens when you do? And we'll explore that together as well. A little less theory and more practice. I want to share some thought starters and some tips on how to create spaces where empathy can be built for your audiences. And then finally, we'll do some questions and some final thoughts. So, where it all began. I started my career in broadcast television, working predominantly in entertainment, factual entertainment, and documentary style content. Some of you of the right age might recognize some of the shows on here. This is an era where I really learned about ambitious creative production, but more pertinently, working with real people in a storytelling and entertainment context. I think in broadcast, you find yourselves in scenarios where you're either... Oh, is there a problem with the presentation? Okay, interesting. I'm sorry, Jerry. I think it seems all right for everyone else. I'll continue. So, yeah, in broadcast, you find yourself in scenarios where you're either being trusted to enter people's lives and tell their story, or you're holding their hand as they are experiencing something utterly unique. That might be a life-changing event at the other end, or at the other end of the spectrum, capturing the joy on someone's face reacting to street magic. Television was definitely the space where I realized the importance of contributor care, the way that I behaved, the way that I looked after the contributors, and the way they felt about me had a direct effect on the results we captured on camera. And that was applicable to the general public, actors, and talent. If you want to understand what the complete opposite of that is, do watch the Jerry Springer documentary on Netflix, the perfect example of how not to look after contributors. In the world of brand, I've had the privilege of telling a multitude of stories and conducted hundreds of interviews. I've filmed with the vulnerable, and I've sat with CEOs to talk about their greatest fears and business challenges. You are reminded constantly that you are doing your job, and the person that is in front of you doesn't know you very well and probably feels uncomfortable being on camera. The key to the success of real people storytelling, in my view, comes to the art of listening, acknowledging the situation your subject finds themselves in, and ultimately building trust with them to serve their story authentically. Now, there are two pieces of work that have defined my career hugely, that I bore my colleagues with the most. And one of them, and they have kind of informed my outlook in work and in life hugely. I spent 2 years making donation films for the Channel 4 Stand Up to Cancer campaign that had a part in contributing to over £200 million for cancer research. Hours of earning the trust of people experiencing the horrors of cancer, going into their homes, hospitals, being by their bedside, capturing the truth, no matter what it took. And the other is This Crazy Man. I know that there's some Darren Brown fans in the audience. Sadly, no one commissions television this brave anymore, and I feel confident enough to say that now. But from zombie apocalypses to sticking up banks to teaching an OAP to play poker in a week, it was an incredible thing to be part of. Why do I mention it in this context? Well, Darren, at a particular point in his career, made the very shrewd decision to make it less about him, to be less showman and put the spotlight on people like you and me, to produce exciting, horrific, hilarious, and unforgettable, uniquely tailored experiences for the general public that would stay with them forever. All of us that worked on Darren had to demonstrate great levels of emotional intelligence to understand what those contributors were going through emotionally and physically. So for reasons of care and for reasons of effectiveness, looking at every opportunity to put ourselves in their shoes. A little bit of theory for a second. What is the Collins Dictionary definition of an empathy? It's the projection of one's own personality into the personality of another in order to understand the person better. Bit vague, in my view. Or the ability to share in another's emotions, thoughts, or feelings. Now, I think I've come up with a different one that suits me in the context of making kind of emotive film. And it's this: simply the validation of the human experience. As a fellow human, flesh and blood, in this very moment, I'm going to acknowledge you and what you are going through. And even if I cannot personally relate to the exact situation you are in, I have enough imagination, patience, and desire to understand its impact. Essentially, I'm going to confront the truth. Now, I wonder how many of you, when seeing the title of this webinar and the word emotion, immediately thought, oh, this is going to be about making people all sad and Matt will try to make me cry. Well, if that has been the case, I am delighted. But I'm particularly interested in this, having run a highly unsuccessful comedy night for several years when I moved to London. The tools and the strategies to make us feel moved are essentially the same used by observational comedians. Isn't that fascinating? They both confront us with the inescapable truth. It resonates, so it moves us. And it's so familiar, we laugh in solidarity due to the shared experience. So let's look at some of the most prevalent places where empathy is used creatively for impact today. Colleague engagement, getting colleagues to understand each other better through shared experiences and challenges, whether they be personal or professional. Marketing and advertising, obviously, the evidence is out there. You're more likely to remember if you feel something: anger, sadness, laughter. Drama. The better the writing, the better the story, the more we believe the experiences the actors are going through, we're more likely to empathize. Charity communications, Stand Up to Cancer, and a film we watched earlier are all but some of the examples using emotion in the charity sector. When we're moved, we're more likely to act, and in this instance, donate. Branded content. Over the years, I've seen a huge shift. We've seen a huge shift to more authenticity and documentary making for brands, making things people want to watch through highlighting the human experience. Learning experiences. If you can get people to emotionally invest in the mission that you're on, they're more likely to remember and act differently, and that leads to a better return on investment. Finally, customer-facing roles. Customers need to feel seen and heard, and that relies on people to place themselves in the shoes of others in order to serve them best. Empathy and the impact of emotive content is as important today as it's ever been, in my view. It drives decision-making. Viewers are more likely to remember it, and that is a powerful driver for change. It also increases pro-social behavior, and most importantly, feelings of connection. And there are a plethora of studies that support this around viewer habits. Don't just take my word for it. I think also we have to agree that in an increasingly digital world where social media, that for the best part sometimes gives us a false view of the world, and increased curiosity, fascination, and reliance on AI means a greater need to remember that empathy is a thing of utmost importance. And for all the things an increasingly automated world can achieve, there are no shortcuts to meaningful, real human connection. So I'd love to sort of share a few methods and the steps that I've taken for a long time and the things that we do at Mediazoo to basically start to use empathy and making emotive content. I think firstly it starts with desire. Ascertain why you want to reach people in new ways. You want to intrude people's consciousness with something of human value. There's always bravery involved. You can't make something emotive that will get people to care unless it tackles something challenging, mental health, loss, love. Lean into that space where people need to be vulnerable. And don't be afraid to tell the truth, even if it hurts. Research. Once people are in that space, listen and look after them. They are trusting you with the truth. Craft. Figure out what from their story will create the most impact that people can empathize with. And obviously editing techniques and great music help to elevate and elicit the responses people remember. And finally, commitment. You've made it this far. Don't compromise on the truth and bring it to life to build the strongest connections possible. Create something of value and don't compromise. And I think this was really brilliantly brought to life on a piece of work that we did last year for Lloyd's. It's a quick mention. I can't show you the film, sadly. It's a project called Inclusive for Customers. And the conceit was this. 6 brave senior colleagues come face to face with genuine customer feedback, both negative and positive. And that becomes a catalyst for the speakers to identify the shared experiences and challenges with those customers. The film was essentially an empathy exercise to further understand the shared responsibility we have to be inclusive in every decision we make. So an experience that resulted in greater connection internally and is driving real behaviour change towards customers. We're very proud to say the project has been recognised by a Gold Award at Cannes and several FCOM awards. So, in short, in overview, key outcomes. In short, when we make the steps towards brave storytelling that confronts the truth, it results in the potential for emotional impact and deeper connections with your audiences. Now, if you're thinking, well, that sounds good to me, Matt, but I don't know where to start, my advice would be look around you and establish the audiences that you serve, whether they be external, they might be colleagues, they could be customers. What are the burning themes and challenges they face, personally or professionally? Ask yourself, what platform can I give to my audiences that will benefit them? What obligations do you feel towards them? Maybe ask yourself whether you need to build better bridges between the people over here and the people over here. How can you do that? My final message would be brave, don't hide from the truth, listen, and then build something of real human value. We all have the power to connect with people in incredible ways and inspire positive change through film. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to end with a piece of work that we made in partnership with HSBC that we're very proud of here at Mediazoo, and I think it's a great embodiment of a lot of themes that we've discussed today. So this is the result of listening, it's the result of research, it's a result of confronting the truth, and a commitment to emotive filmmaking. A film specifically designed for new employees to understand the importance of empathy towards all customers, vulnerable or otherwise.
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of my granddad. Could you help me with his account?
I wondered if you could help me, mate. I've been on hold for like 20 minutes. Could I just speak to someone?
My credit card limit?
I'm locked out of my bank account. I desperately need to access it.
Can you explain the charges on my statement?
14.8 million possibilities. A setting of intention, a dialing of keys. Face unseen, your voice will unfold your needs. 14.8 million lives living, breathing, changing, turning over a new leaf, turning a key, turning a corner. What do you need? In this moment, you turn to us. I follow your lead. 14.8 million moments of silence, of lost time. And if your mind reaches for words that you cannot find, you can pause, take your time. Crying, lost, planning life, getting on, getting by, feeling trapped, falling flat, moving on, moving by. I can't see your face, so I listen as you speak to your voice, and I focus and I breathe. Hearing what you need. And I am ready as you speak, and I let empathy take the lead. 14.8 million. Numbers beyond understanding. But you are not a number, are you? You're a life lived, a collection of moments that matter. You matter. And as I answer this phone, my nerves rise and swell, expecting the unknown. Every call unfamiliar, the calm slowly building till the day comes when it clicks. All the voices of all the millions, all the lives, all the highs, lows, love, grief, all the millions of moments, and this is the only one that matters. Many a conversation until it clicks. $14.8 million. No day the same. Click, hello, breathe, smile, and just listen.
Hello, you're through to HSBC. How can I help?
That was my voice that you heard at the end. And just to be clear, I don't work for HSBC. It's been a real pleasure to be with you today. You can see my details on screen, so please do connect with me on the LinkedIn via the QR code, or please do directly email me at matt.pothecary@mediazoo.tv, and be happy to answer any questions and discuss what emotional storytelling and building empathy with your audiences looks like. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.